Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, where you can awaken your mind to clarity and success even in today's life challenges. We're here to provide insights and solutions that will help you live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hello, this is Joanne Victoria with another amazing episode of the Sanity Project podcast. The Sanity Project podcast is a place to discover a life of clarity, confidence, and success. And our guest today is bringing that to the table. Our guest today is Meiyoko Taylor. Meiyoko Taylor is known as the trajectory changer and a life and business strategist. Meiyoko helps people use their expertise to create purpose-driven businesses that increase their impact, influence, and income. Some of his past and present clients include top motivational speakers, life and business coaches, celebrities, professional athletes, industry leaders, and entrepreneurs. Meiyoko Taylor has authored and co-authored a total of 6 books, including Find Your Amazing 5 Steps to Transforming Your Life and Forever Truckin', Mastering the Will to Win, both of which have become bestsellers. He has received wide media coverage and acclaim, including features in Success, Women's Health and Fitness Magazine, Bustle, Ladders, and dozens of other media outlets. And Meiyoko Taylor is giving us his expertise in the area of the zone of genius. He's going to talk to you about how to find your zone of genius and create a purpose-driven business utilizing your expertise. Welcome to the show, Meiyoko Taylor.
Thank you so much, Joanne. I'm excited to be here and great to hang out with you as always.
Thank you so much. Yes, for those who are listening, Meiyoko has been on the show before, and since he always has great things to tell people and you can never get everything done in a half-hour show, I invited him back. So here we are. So tell us, how do people who don't know what to do it?
Okay, so here's one of the biggest obstacles when it comes to us, when it comes to what we're purposed to do professionally, personally, you name it. So one of the things is we get caught up in the propaganda, and this is for all of my entrepreneurs out there. We get caught up in the propaganda of how to go from 0 to 6 figures in 1 week or 2 weeks or less, and we get caught up in, the next big secret to exploding our business. But what we never really do is we never really search inwardly, and that's the big problem. We're always looking for the answers externally and never internally. And so that's where we start. And this is what fascinates me about what we call the zone of genius, because everybody has one. And there's a specific way to find it. A lot of us have heard of the genius zone, or that area where you just thrive. We've seen it in various celebrities, various industry leaders. It seems like they're just in a class of their own. Well, those particular people have operated in their area of genius, and I'm going to tell you today how to really do that. So I definitely want you to, pay attention to, what we're going to talk about today. So
and take notes, people.
So yes, please take notes. So this is how you're going to find your zone of genius. It consists of 3 very important components. 1, it consists of what you're passionate about. We all have something that we're passionate about. And sometimes, we don't even know that we're passionate about it. We just do it. It's second nature. It's like breathing. And I often say that, your passion or that extraordinary thing is what you may find that's very easy to you, but extraordinary to someone else. So I want you to think about what you may find that's very easy to you, but somebody's always telling you, man, that's amazing. How do you do that? Like, I could never do that. I think we've had somebody say that to us once or twice. Okay. So your passion is one important element. The second element is your gifts and your talents. So you want to look at what you're skilled at. It could be something that you've developed educationally, went to college for, developed the talent, developed the skill, and what you're naturally gifted at. Okay. So your passion, your talent, and your skills. All right. And the third one, and this is a very, very important piece, is your life experiences. This is the piece that we really, really leave out. We've all had a story of transformation. We've all been at a point, and some of you may be going through your story of transformation right now. But we've all been through a point where we're at our lowest point. It was something going on in our life, a period of adversity, and we overcame it, and it made us even better people than we are now. Okay, and there was a process. Believe it or not, there was a process that got you from where you were then to where you are now. And this is a key component into finding your zone of genius, because usually what happens is when I talk to people about their particular journey of transformation or where they've been to where they are now, one of the things you'll find is they get very excited. They get very passionate about it. So usually your passion is hiding right in that period, that taking you through your biggest heartache, your biggest trials, your biggest adversity, and how you overcame them. So that's another way you can actually find what you're passionate about. Because some of you are going to say, I have no idea what I'm passionate about. But I guarantee you, if you take an experience in your life that you've overcome and that you can passionately talk about to somebody else, your passion lies somewhere in that particular frame. So 3 very important things. Your passion, what drives you, what you're very passionate about, which is like second nature to you. Your talents and your skills are going to play a very big part, because those are skills you've developed. Sometimes you've mastered. And the gifts that you were just born with, because we were all born with particular gifts. And your life experiences. And I often tell people, especially entrepreneurs, that are not, or that are unable to connect to their audience, you're not sharing your journey. And that's very, very, very important. So this is how you're going to find your zone of genius. It lies within those 3 specific areas of your life: your passion, your talent, skills, and your gifts, and your life experiences. I guarantee you, if you focus on these 3 areas and you really start asking yourself questions, you're going to find your zone of genius. And once you do that, it's going to take away your desire to compete with somebody else. It's going to take away the need to feel like you have to find the next marketing secret, the keys, because you're going to start to unconsciously and consciously attract those people that connect to your story, that have a need or a problem that only your skills or expertise can solve, and people that really want to go with you and develop and learn and grow, in your community.
So give us an example of how you, this is very interesting to me, and when you and I meet again tomorrow, you will understand why, but there is synchronicity in us being here today and talking about what you're talking about. I mean, high level God is here. That's all I have to say. God and all of the angels are here with us today. So if pick a recent client or somebody who stands out as to how, in your speaking with them, it turned their business, either their business, the existing business that they had, or opened up a new avenue for them, opened up a new path for them, so that they see how it works in IRL, in real life.
Okay, so perfect. So I have a client. A few of my clients are therapists, but this particular client is a therapist, absolutely brilliant individual, and they've helped a lot of people. And one of the things that they were experiencing is that they knew they knew that they're here to serve, right? They knew that what they were passionate about, helping people. A lot of people say they're passionate about helping people, but that's not quite pinpointing their area of genius. So what we did is, what I began to ask this particular individual is, what were some of the things that, held them back, from getting to that particular point in their life, of the success that they desired. So one of the things that we did is we kind of went back a little bit. We backtracked to when they were younger. And, sometimes to get the answer to this particular question, you have to go back into someone's past and get to this story of transformation. So that's what we did. I wanted to hear her story of transformation. And we started talking about, her childhood and there was somebody, I think it was in the 4th or the 5th grade, that she shared with me. And they told her that you are ugly and you will always be ugly and everybody will think you're ugly. That stuck with her into her adult life. And one of the things that she was truly passionate about is telling people that they are loved, telling people that they can bounce back, telling people that they're resilient. And once we found this particular thing out, still a therapist, but it completely started a whole different aspect of business, of being a resiliency coach, educating and sharing people the value of self-love, self-care. So this kind of struck a chord with her, and that was really her zone of genius because she had experienced it. She was passionate about it. She was born with I don't want to say at a disadvantage, but she was born with some health problems that she overcame. So all these particular things, she didn't realize that she was naturally resilient. And as she tapped into that, I mean, the rest is history. I mean, she's doing absolutely amazing, and will accomplish some phenomenal things. But I had to take her back to her story of transformation. Okay, how did you get to where you are now? What are some areas that may be still painful for you? And when we searched back there, that's how she found her zone of genius. Because the therapy was that was pretty much just a
vessel.
Just a vessel of what the zone of genius really was for her. And when she found it, I mean, it literally transformed her. You could feel the transformation in her. It's an amazing thing when somebody really finds what they're meant to do. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And you have insight to these things, and that's why you're here again, because this is important to people, because everybody is following. I mean, I could never even understand how a funnel worked. It was like, why are you screwing with my head? Because it just seemed as though somebody had created something. And there's another program going on where I have been getting all of these emails that are identical, because obviously these people all took the same course, and somebody shared my name, email address somewhere, somehow. And I probably received almost 10 emails about the same program. Do this, and you can be part of my, you can come to my party. And it's like, this is not how I want to play. I mean, I could label myself as an introvert, but I'm more well-rounded now after time goes by and I focus on it. So I'm sort of both sides, introvert, extrovert. Nobody, if I told somebody, some people who know me, if I told them I was an introvert, they would just laugh at me because, they see me in another way. But we're presented with this, 6-figure income, do this, do that. Everybody who's listening, it's all BS.
Absolutely. And you know what we're going to do today, Joanne? I'm not going to apologize, but we're going to literally crush all of those people. Not those people per se from a physical perspective, but we're going to crush that ideology. Because here's what I see a lot of, and I know people are going to be like, oh my God, yes, me too. I'll get a lot of people on Facebook, LinkedIn. They'll connect with me. And one of the first things I see is, I help coaches sell high ticket. Or I help high ticket. Help you sell high ticket products, or I'm a high ticket coach for coaches and all that stuff. So here's one of the people that reached out to me, and I've never heard from them again because they said I can help you sell. And I want everybody to listen because this is so important. They told me that I can help you sell and make 5 figures a month and sell high ticket coaching clients. I said, okay, all right. Okay. So how can you help me do that? Well, I'll do this, help you set up this funnel, that funnel, that funnel. I said, but do you know who my audience is? And they said, no, well, you know where your audience is. I said, okay, so how are you supposed to help? Do you speak my audience's language? And at that particular time, they know that, okay, this is the wrong person to send a message to. My point is, nobody can help you sell a high ticket anything. If you are trying to build a purpose-driven business, until they get to know you, your story, your audience, and your offer and the value that you give, the outcome that you're providing for your target audience or your dream clients, I like to say, they cannot help you sell a thing. What they're going to sell to you is a process. But the process doesn't work if it is not connected to the right source. Your people, the people that connect to you. And we all have a tribe, a group, whatever you want to call it, a specific number of people that one of my coaches, Mark Bonus, says, he says, we all have a group of people that woke up shedding private tears because they have a problem that only we can solve. And I truly believe that for every one of us. So until you can understand who I connect to, what my offer is, what my messaging is, you can't help me sell anything. The only thing you can help me sell is only thing you can help me with is a process, a funnel. But none of that stuff is going to work if all the other stuff isn't right. You have to be properly aligned. Everything has to be in alignment. And I'm so big with that word alignment. Everything has to be aligned. Everything, your message, your product, the value that you give, your language, how you connect with your audience, how you nurture that audience, how you understand what they're going through, what keeps them up at night. And you're not going to get that just trying to sell me a high that you can, you can get me high ticket sales and you don't know anything about me, my audience, or my capabilities. And you definitely don't know what my zone of genius is.
Yes, the alignment is vital in all areas. I mean, where you present your work, the fit with your prospects, into making them into. I mean, once there's a fit, you don't need to worry about a prospect becoming a client because they will automatically do that. A bank robber cannot be aligned with someone who has foundations that give money away to people. So,
absolutely, it all happens organically, Joanne. You are right on the money,
and it does work that way. Once you make a decision to find your zone of genius, for those who work with you and will continue to work with you, once they make that decision, their life is already changed.
Absolutely. It's very transformational. I cannot tell you the many times or people that I've worked with, when they find their zone of genius, it's just like, oh my God, my life has even greater meaning. If you haven't experienced it, everybody, it is an amazing feeling. And then you can say, all right, now that you found your zone of genius, okay, how do you tie your life experience and your message into this? Then when you do that, you can say, all right, who's the audience? What's keeping this audience up at night? And what can my zone of genius, can it solve that particular problem for them? And then you start creating your offer around this. And everything starts to happen organically, so fluid and so without stress or forcefulness, because you're speaking their language in your social media posts, in your emails, in your videos. So those people are like, oh my God, this person gets me. He understands or she understands. Where have they been all my life? I want to follow this person. And then what happens is people will say, you know what? How can I work with you? Instead of what do you do? You've explained and your language has been so transparent. And that's another thing. Your language has been so transparent. They're raising their hand. How do I work with you? And anybody that tells you that you have to market or present in a way where I have the secret to making sales and the secret to marketing, stop doing that. People are tired of that. The more transparent and open you are about your process, the more clients you are going to get, the more people are going to respect you, the more you're going to build your authority, your credibility in your field. And the more money you're going to make, because money is just going to come as a result of the value that you're giving to your audience.
Yeah, it happens. Once you think it, once your intention is made, once you're clear about what you want, i.e. you want change, you want this, you want that, it's already happened in another part of our quantum physics world. It's already occurred, and you just have to plug in all the details so that it makes sense to our human brain. Because it's in my Buddhist studies that I do erratically throughout the years for decades. I remember in Buddha saying, or actually the Dalai Lama saying, and bless him because he's getting older, but the Dalai Lama saying, if I gave you, what is the word? Fill in the blank. If I gave you the world, let's just use that, you wouldn't be able to cope.
Mm-hmm.
If I gave you transcendence in one fell swoop, if I touched your head and gave you transcendence, you would not be able to cope. It would be overwhelming.
Right.
And that's the kind of feeling that you get when you go, aha, I now know what this is. And so to the listeners, Meiyoko is the gift, which is what I say when I describe this podcast on Apple, is that I gift to you, and Meiyoko was a representation of that, guests that will help you in the areas of your life where you need help. And if you're listening to this right now, probably all of you are going, aha, because you're all in a place, regardless of when you listen to this. There's always something going on in the world. Remember that. There has never been a time in our world where we have not had a war, or 10 at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So we are having wars now, and they're just on different planes. That's all they are. It's wars. So whenever you listen to this, there's always going to be something inappropriate going on in the rest of the world. Number one, ignore it. Just ignore it, because it's how you deal with it that counts. And listen to what Meiyoko is telling you and how he's telling you to find your zone of genius, and how you will feel so much better, and you will feel enlightened, you will feel joyful, you will feel happy, and you won't even know why. And this is why. It's because of what Meiyoko is telling you and how you can work with him. So let me be clear. People, you can go to MeiyokoTaylor.com. That's M as in Mary, EIYOKOTAYLOR. Meiyoko Taylor, MEIYOKO. That's Meiyoko Taylor, TAYLOR.com. You can see what he has to say. You can read some of his books. You can connect with him on Facebook and see what he has to say there, or LinkedIn or Instagram, and all of this stuff shows right below. If you're online, all of his stuff shows on my website on his own page. Is there something that you can tell people to do right now, Meiyoko, that who are listening, who are taking notes, and before they pass this podcast on to their friends? What can you give him, one bit of advice that they can take to task, something that they can do right now?
You know what? I have something that just came to my mind right now, and it's a question that I need to ask, you need to ask, Joanne, all of us need to ask. And you can actually write it down. Matter of fact, take a piece of paper and write it down. It's a question. And the question is, how do I want to spend the rest of my life? Write that question down, and I want you to put personal. I want you to put professional. And really think about that question. And then ask yourself again, how close am I to having these areas in my life? I think right now is a perfect time to do that. We all are in a space where we have time, reflection, and I think we are closest to our inner selves as possible right now. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a very good question for all of us to ask. How do we want to spend the rest of our life? And that's going to get you even closer to your zone of genius, because we all want to do three things. We want to love and provide for our loved ones. We want to be healthy and, do the things that we love to do, right? And then the third thing, we want to impact the world in some way. And the only way that you can do that is when you're really operating in your zone of genius. So I would ask everybody to write that question down and separate it in two areas, professional and personal.
Can't ask for anything better than that, people. Thank you so much, Meiyoko Taylor. This has been
You're so welcome.
Wonderful episode. Now, for those of you who are looking for some free support right now, you can go to my website at askjoannevictoria.com, and you can do what it requires you to do, and you can get a copy of my True Self Handbook, a guide to transform your life. How appropriate, but that's what I do. And you can also download 5 steps to life work harmony and enjoy yourself reading all my blog posts, and you can also find Meiyoko's first podcast that we had a few months back. Have a great day, everyone, and be sure to re-listen to this podcast and then pass it on to your friends, and then go to Apple when you listen to this and then give Meiyoko Taylor a 5-star review. I thank you all for listening, and I thank Meiyoko for being here today. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com to listen to more podcasts. Check out Joanne's coaching programs and get a free copy of her report, 5 Steps to Achieve Life Work Harmony. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.